Okay, well, my name is Jamie Stotts Painter, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And thank you, Anne, for having me here and letting me into other people's homes to do this. And so what I'm going to do now is turn this away from me so that you can see that I've got. And hopefully, can you see everything there?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. So got my name and my email address and that. So if you have any questions, but this is what we're going to be making. And I brought two different versions of this so that you can see just different ways of what I've done there for Halloween. And you can also turn it on the inside, which you'll see is a darker. So if you want something for Thanksgiving, you can do that either. And then our card for the holidays for more Thanksgiving fall. And this one more for the winter scenes. And everything I've done here for like this, if you don't want this sentiment, you use the other side and you can stamp something or use it blank. So you do have the option, and I'll go over some of that with you too. I will be on here. I always keep my cardstock layering. A normal size card that I usually make is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So 4 1/4 here or 4 1/4 here. The long side is 5 1/2. So layering goes 1/4 inch less each way that you are doing it for each layer. So when you can see, well, this one's kind of a different size, but in here, you got a large size, then the next size, smaller. And if 1/4 inches make it hard for you when you're thinking about it, think about there's 4 quarters and $1. So if you go down 4.25, $4, 3.75, 3.50, and 3 1/4. So that's my teaching kind of thing that get people to think about when you are looking at doing that. So thank you again for inviting me into your home. We are going to be talking a little bit as we go through about some of the tools that I'll be using. I just went over the designs really quick for the cards. There is a PDF directions, which look like this. It's a two different pages. And I will talk about this bottom part here at the very end when we're on that card. And if you have any questions, you can email me, or at the end of the program, if there's anything else that you have questions on, just give me a holler. So now we're going to just start on the first one. And again, this is just, there's two different kinds here. So if you take what you have here out of the little plastic bag that I've given you, and you'll see everybody has something a little bit different. And so there's a variety of different things that I've put in here. And then you can use them, and everybody should have this, 2 little strings for time. And I put a variety of different things that you can put in however you want. The first thing you're going to do is you take this and decide which color side that you want. You can look at what you have, and you'll see that the darker colors and the lighter colors, it should go with either side that you're going to be using. So I like the orange because, again, the Halloween. And if you have a Halloween and you don't want to use it, you can use something different and put something different on there after. But the first thing you're going to do is take this and you're going to fold it. And what I usually do is I have what you call, oh, actually I put it away. I'm going to take the end of my scissors, my little scissors here, and fold it down. And you're going to keep doing that. If you do it with your finger, it just doesn't stay as crisp. And you're going to do that all the way for all the folds you have there. And then the final one. So now it looks like you can see how it's going to bend. And I'm going to just put this one right here just so you can kind of see what you're looking at. So you see how when I've done it, it's now all bending. And that's what you want. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to fold at the ends. And that one I'm not so worried if it's as crisp. I just want to make sure that it's got a little bit of a bend to it to make it easier for when we are closing up these sides.
Okay.
So then you're going to decide which side you want. Now you'll see that I've put, this is little tear and tape adhesive, so that what I can do is I'm going to peel off the white stuff, and then there'll be sticky stuff here.
Okay.
And then if you have these little white tabs, You just tear that off too to get a sticky piece. Now, if you find that it's not sticky enough for when you're closing it, you can put a little bit of glue here. So before I do this, I'll show you there's a few different kinds of glue you can get. You've got the Tombow Mono Liquid Glue. I like glue preferred to, like you've got Crafter's Connection permanent adhesive. We've got this Fast Fuse and different things I've got from Stampin' Up! That are adhesive rollers. A lot of people like the rollers because they are not as messy as glue. I like the glue because I know over the last 5 years, between 2010 and 2005, 2010, we used to send cards that went to Afghanistan all across the United States. It went to cold weather, it went to hot weather. And no matter what the temperature was, I know that the cards that I sent, they were going to still stay, the glue sticks. Whereas this type of adhesive, the rollers, if it gets too hot, it could melt. If it gets too cold, it might come apart. So that's why I don't like using the roller adhesive, because I know over when I was doing that stuff for Operation Right Home, liquid glue does the best, lasts the longest. And over the years that I did stamping since 1999, the things that I use the adhesive rollers on, some of them are coming apart. The stuff I use glue on, it's still stuck. And that's kind of what I want when I make my cards or make my things. I want everything to be still stuck. So if you like the orange side, you're going to go like this and put it, hold it like this and glue it there. If you like this side, you're going to take where the sticky stuff is and you're going to glue it this way or attach it that way. So no matter which way you want it, the way that I put the adhesive on it can work. And what I'm going to tell you to do is put it like this, if you're doing the orange side, and then you're going to attach it just like that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now that's going to be where I'm going to put stuff on the bottom down there. So now what I want to do is I'm going to use, this is going to be my top part here. So when you're looking at this or this on how you did it, so you're going to see how what I've got, if you look on the inside, you'll see that I've glued it just to that top part. So you take whichever panel. So I'm going to focus on this panel, and that's the only place inside this little square, like right here, you can say right where that is. That's the only place glue is going to go. Because if you put it on the other part, it's not going to open and give you the dimension that you want it to. Okay, so then what you're going to do is decide with all these pieces you have, what do you want it to look like? So for mine, let's see. The other thing to think about when you're doing it, you see when I've done some of these things here, most stuff looks good when you have it in threes. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It brings the eyes that when you're looking at it, looking nice. So I've got a lot of pieces here. So what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to put a little glue or a little dab here and here for me, because I'm going to put it underneath this, and I'm going to make something that goes on top of my hat. And this is just going to be a flower I'm going to put on the hat. And again, nobody got the same, everybody got something a little bit different. So you kind of have to be creative here and decide what you want to do when you're looking at it. And let's see, I'm going to put it that way on my hat. And then let's see, I'm going to glue, let's see if I want like this. This. I like this part for me. I like this one on the bottom, not partially. You can have it where it's partially done. Or you could put it all the way. I think I'm going to put it, this one I'm going to do all the way on. So I'm just going to put just a little bit of glue on the back of this. And I'm going to put it right in the middle. Unlike on the other ones, you can see like this one, I put it just on the bottom part. This one, I'm just going to keep it right here. Oh, sorry, someone dropped something above. That was scary. And then I'm going to put that guy here. And this guy just a little bit right on top. You might have to squish it down just to keep it. And I'm not going to use this little piece there. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but I don't think I'm going to stick with my, I'm going to stick with my green. There, I'm going to put that over it so it takes a little bit of that white space away. There we go. Okay. If you do have liquid glue, the other thing that you do is you always want to keep it face down so that the glue is ready when you have it and that it doesn't clog. It doesn't get clogged down there. And sometimes on glue, you'll see the little stuff like this. I call them little boogers if you want. If you just wipe your fingers like this, the glue comes off, which is really nice. You don't have to worry about that. I got my nice little handy thing. I got this at Amazon, but you can easily use a pill bottle, which is what I use when I come to class. I have lots of little empty pill bottles that I use for holding my glue. Whoops. Okay. Next, you're going to do, now that you've got it to whichever side you want, and mine is just a little bit sticky here because I was playing too much with it up and down. These little glue erasers I get at Amazon, and they take off any excess glue that you have anywhere. They're like about $2. You wait till the glue dries a little bit, and then you can just rub it off very easily. Next, you're going to come, and now that we did that one, you're going to squeeze this part here. So it looks like you can see on the inside how it looks there. And you're going to put your string on one side. And you can do one of two things. I gave you enough so you can double it like this. And that way, once you close it a little, it's going to hold it a little bit better because it went around twice. And then you got to bow it, or I'm going to bow it.
Oh, yeah.
If you're like my sister, she hates tying bows. And then you've got candy. So I love, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can fit 7 Hershey's Kisses in it. So how's that for a nice little gift for someone? Or you got these Hershey's Nuggets that are a little bit bigger. And then what you do is you just do the same thing for this. And I'm going to put the kisses because I'm going to eat the nuggets myself. I'm hungry. Even though you can't say that, I can't let my doctor hear this video recording because I promised him I'd lose 10 pounds by next year when I see him. COVID, I've got the COVID-15. I don't like it. It's probably more than 15, but I'll say it's 15 right now. And then you tie it on that end to hold it in, which my bow didn't look too good on that one. Let's try it one more time. Littler bow. And then the nice part I liked about this, so this was one of the things that you had for, okay, Jamie, here, sticky, sticky, sticky. Is it loop, swoop, and swirl, or 2 bunny ears tied? You'll see that, no, this way you want to look. It's flat underneath. You can see I didn't put this part down because otherwise it would look like this. But now you got something that if you have a table, you can put it like at the head of a table or something like that, or give it as a nice little gift for someone at work that you want to do something nice for. So that's the first thing for Halloween.
Okay, very nice.
All righty. So number 2 is, let's see. Ta-da, this little guy. So this one, if we were in a class and we were live, you would be doing all of this stamping that I have done here. So what you see is I'm going to put this paper here so you don't see as much of this, but you still get a little bit of those corn cob, or yeah, corn, I want to say. And that's the same thing I did for the inside. I always like tying the outside to the inside somehow. And so that's how I did it that way. And again, I put this as thankful for you. So you can use it again as a Thanksgiving Day card for someone. If you don't like that, just flip over and you can keep it on the other side, and it's golden leaves, chilly air, autumn beauty everywhere. It can be for anything else that you desire. So I'm going to start with doing the inside here. And you can see this one I did for the layering. I went in 2 layers because I wanted it just to have a little bit more depth perception, or a little depth when you see it here. So what I'm going to do, whenever you're using glue and you're gluing on cardstock, you always glue a 1/4 of an inch in, and you don't need a large amount. So you can see how I'm just going just like this. Oops, a little bit there. You don't want to put a lot, because if you put too much, or if you put it too close to the edge and you press it down, it is going to spread, and it'll spread to the outside. So everything will get sticky. So you don't want to do that. And why I went like this is because now I can actually see the difference to try and get it centered how I want it centered, by having only part of it showing. And you can see how when I've done this, there is no glue coming out anywhere. Now you can, if you want, take a little brown marker and color the inside of this. I just kind of like it looking like that, but you can actually color that one. And then now we're going to go to the outside, and we're going to put we're first going to decide where we want it. So it has to go where you can see that. So I'm going to put it a little more to the left so I can see a little bit more of this. And again, if you decide you want to color this, you're going to want to do that before you do this part, but I'm going to show you where I put it. And again, you don't have to glue that down right now if you want to color your leaves, or color in that with a light brown. I'm going to go over so I can see just a little bit more of this, and up a little tall. There we go. This is the other nice part about glue. See how I did like this? I can move glue. If you use the tape runners, once it's down, it's there. You cannot, and if you try to take it up, you are going to rip your paper. So glue is very forgiving. I need forgiving when it comes to this stuff. Okay, next step. We are going to do some coloring, and that's the one thing that I really don't like to do a lot, because I am not a very neat colorer, or I don't stand the lines very well. So we have options. You can use colored pencils, watercolored pencils. You can use crayons. You can use markers, which is what I'm going to use, or you can use blender pens or things like this. If you have Copic markers, those are blenders also. But because these are small, I'm okay with just using a variety of color markers just to color everything on its own without trying to blend it. But I will show you a blender pen. Maybe I'll show you the blender pen on one of the big pumpkins so you can see what that is. If you ever decide that you want something like that. And you can get blender pens anywhere. Michael's, Joann's, Stampin' Up! Has their own. Everybody has their own version of things. I know Michael's has Copic, because I used to get some of those there. And they come in a variety of names. So what I'm going to do first is say I'm going to blend this pumpkin. What I'm going to do is just put a few of these dark orange lines here as the dark color. And then make sure, yep, this is my light pumpkin. And then what I'm going to do is go in and color it. And you can see it's lighter. And when I'm going like this, it is bringing some of the dark in. And once it dries, you're going to see it doesn't look liney, but it's going to give it just a little bit more dimension. So that's how you can use for that. Or you can go just like this with a marker. And most markers like are Stampin' Up! Or you also have Zig, let's see here, Zig pens that have a thin end on one side like ours. This has a brush side. This has a thicker brush side, or thicker marker side, but that works. And again, you can get just about any kind of tool you want. And I says, I'm kind of a stamper, kind of like my husband. If there's a tool that he can find at Home Depot or Menards, he's up for it and he'll try something new. And I'm kind of like that with stamping. But this one is just a plain color marker. And so you'll see the little bit different. See how it's just solid and it's dark, because I did use 2 different colors. So just a little bit different. So you can see here versus there. So this was all markered, and this
Okay.
gave you a little bit blender. And if you wanted to add just a little bit extra like this, you could go back there again and just blend in a little bit more to give it a little darker. Okay, now you can see how on one of these that I did a while ago, I didn't realize that was corn when I first colored it, so I colored it
Oh.
pink. It's corn, it's not pink. So, but you can color it brownish color if you want, or something like that. So I'm using a color like a mustardy color here,
Mm-hmm.
make it just a little bit darker for the corn. And then I've got my little, I color what I know there is, my little red apples. And I don't use blender pens when I'm doing stuff that's so little, because you really don't get that much of a difference. You can see how on this one you can really tell the difference versus
Yes.
that on something little, you're really not going to be able to tell the difference on that. And I may have picked the wrong color vegetables, so these may not be apples, they could be something else, but they're apples for me.
I thought they looked like apples as well.
They look like it's like, I think they are. I kind of go with what I know, and then I start moving around from there. So I'm going to color some of these brown leaves a little bit. And again, you can just color. You can see how dark that one makes that.
Mhm.
I don't know if I like that dark. Let's see if I find a. Let's see if this will make it a little later. Yeah, see how light versus dark. Pumpkin guy can be a little darker. There we go. This is how you can see when you make these things, you can spend lots of money because there's so many different things you can use to do so many different things. It's like, oh my goodness. And I'm going to color my basket. And again, you can color whichever you want for how much you want. And I always tend to color the outline first. And I do that so that I try not to smear it like I did. You can see how sometimes I get a little bit on the accident there, and then trying to get in the middle. The one part I can tell you about when you use markers versus the blends is when you're doing something big like this, sometimes you will find that you get big, I want to say splotches, because you can't really, go like this, it'll blend in. Whereas the markers, you have to make sure you're consistent in your lining. Otherwise you see here how it's dark.
Mhm.
So just a little bit different on that. And you can see how I kind of missed part of my little wheel here, but that is the nice part about this is you're coloring the rest of it in. Most people, or nobody other than, maybe a stamper who knows what the set looks like, will know if you make any kind of error. My mom used to tell me how beautiful my cards were, and I'm like, oh my God, don't you see that? Whatever. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say a word. I think we tend to be more particular about our own stuff. And this, because I put this so high up, I'm going to color just a little bit here to make my wagon be a little bit higher. So it's matching I'm going to go a little darker there, matching the other stuff there.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's try a little green. And I try to use the little point when I'm on the little things, because that's when I tend to make a mess when I'm using the big brushy stuff. The one part about doing this is my sister loves to color, but hates to cut. I love to cut and hate to color. So we're quite the pair when we want to do Christmas cards, or if we get things together, because we match what the other one doesn't like doing. So it makes it really fun because you don't have to do what you don't want to do. And we get nice stuff that we like. Now, have no clue what these two things are. So, any thoughts?
I thought it was a gourd or something.
Like a gourd, so kind of an orangish color or a peachy
Yeah.
color. Maybe I'll keep it more. Just to know if we didn't want it the same color as the pumpkins. What if I try them?
Acorn squash.
Oh, here we go. Let's try this color. Let's see what this one's going to look like. Well, we're going to try this. Yeah, it's a little darker. That still looks kind of pink. Oops. Well, that's enough. Yeah, see the hard part. Like I said, not a color. My sister say, "Oh, it should be this color." Oh, good. See, now I made it different, totally different from that. That's okay. And then I'm gonna go with this. No, I'm gonna make the light pumpkin up here. Like I said, nobody's gonna see if you make a mistake or you do something like that. People cannot tell. We can tell, but they cannot tell. There. See, now I filled it in.
Mm-hmm.
So once you're done coloring, again, taking your glue or your stuff, and you can see how it goes through. That's also why I color before I put it on. Because if you find out, God, I just absolutely hate this and I want to try something totally different, well, now you can do another one and do it, and you're not trying to rip it off. So I finish it, then I glue it.
Okay.
Maybe like the person that says, measure twice, cut once.
Mm-hmm.
I tell my husband I'm not so good at that because I love to sew as well. And measuring twice, I says, I like to seam rip sometimes because it's very therapeutic, I think, for me. Or cathartic, I guess is the better word for it. Okay, so that is our card for my fall
Very
card.
nice.
Okay, now the next one is this guy. Okay, and so what we're going to do on this one is we got a few different things here. So I'm going to do the inside first. So what I did for this is I put, if you want just the solid white and nothing else, you don't like the stain or you don't like the color that I put, I did, even though the inside was white, the outside was yellow and with the tree. So I tried to match it like that, but I also just stamped a plain old tree here if you wanted just that. Or you would go like this to cover the tree. And then this one to go inside.
Oh boy.
And if you don't like this saying, but you like the yellow, flip it over. So that's your first decision. So I'm going to glue my green. And what I do when I'm always gluing is I'm always going like this first to see approximately where it's going to fit to make it even around. And like I showed you, if I fold it over, well, that's not easy. Bring this here. When I fold it over and it's on a different color card, I can always tell approximately. So this is the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. My green one, this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So you should be seeing about 1/4 inch all the way around.
Okay.
So that's how that one goes. And again, you don't need glue in the middle or anything like that. This glue really holds. And about 1/4 inch. There we go. And then I'm going to do this. And I put friends like you make the season special. And I always like trying to find sentiments that make people feel good. And whether it's a relative or not, they still are a friend. That's why I like that. So that's our inside. And you can see again, this was, the first one was 4 inch by 4 1/4. This one is 4 by 5 1/4. So 5 1/4 by 4. This one is 5 by 3 1/4. So you can see about 1/4 inch all the way around there too.
Okay.
Okay. So the next part, you see, this is what the ending part looks like. So what you're going to do, first I'm going to get the little glue off my finger, is we are going to, so you'll have a piece like this. You've got one like this, and on the back has my little dimensionals I put there, and then you got the little rhinestones, which we're not going to put on till after. And then you've got this part. So the hard part about the card is this part. So what I first do is peel this part off on the bottom. So it's sticky, and peel it and then put it away someplace. That way you get easier to work with. We are not going to peel this top one off because we're going to use this top part here to put on the top there, because then it just kind of connects the top and the bottom. So I'm always about how you can make that type of stuff look nice. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take either a scissors or something and start punching through, whoops, these little things here. Actually, if I go like this a little bit, peel down a little, you can see how I've done that. Some of them might actually come off without you having to do anything.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, that's really nice, isn't it? We like that. And then just hold it down like that so that you're not touching the other part. See how I've done that?
Okay.
Now this way, we're only going to have a few that we're going to have to actually punch through. And if we punch it down, we don't want to punch it up, because if we punch it up, it might get stuck on this part. And then you just go ahead and start punching everything through. I think this is the hardest part about the card, or I should say most time consuming about the card. And then peeling it off your fingers so you don't put it back on the card.
That's where I'm stuck.
It looks really pretty when you get it cut like that, but, and then you got to watch so you don't push too far so that you push out this part so you break it. But if you do, don't peel it off, because you'll still be able to stick it on. I've done it to a few. And you see what I did with my finger? Sometimes putting your finger underneath it, then it gets stuck on your finger below. And you just got to peel it off so it doesn't go to the back.
Okay.
Here we go. I got all mine done. How's yours coming?
I just have a couple more.
Okay, I'll wait for you for a little bit. I got lucky on all the ones that stuck down there.
You're experienced.
Oh, no, I got lucky. Like I said, I did one when I was practicing, and I had to do almost every single one. I was like, oh my God, people are just going to hate this card.
I think it looks gorgeous on your sample. So
it looks so pretty, but it's like it's getting just this right part so you don't have that icky stuff. And that's what I'm doing right now while you're doing this, is I am peeling off the little bit of the extra that maybe gone on the back.
Yeah. Okay, I think nope, I found a little sticky on the back side a little.
Yep, that's the other part you got to get off the back side. And then when you're done with that, is you're going to peel it off, and you'll see that the gold part is still stuck there.
There's a little heart in it, or a star.
A little star. And I'm not going to use that for this. If you want to save it for something, you can. So now I'm going to flip this over, because what I want to do is get this so that this covers this part is where you want to put this. So it's going to be like right about like that. Well, actually, right below it, I should say, below the line.
Okay.
And you're going to go all the way to the side. Just like that.
Okay.
I'm going to take my little took a little rag just to wipe off my little excess of anything I see on here. One thing, again, another little cool little tool we have. I get what's called, wrong way, undo. Sticky tape and label remover. It's kind of like Goo Gone. If you got Goo Gone or ever used that.
Yeah.
It works nice to get if you get any little fingerprints or glue on here. You'll see when I do this, I put a little of it on, and you see how it just all of a sudden makes it shine again.
Okay. I found a couple little doodads that I thought I punched out, and they appeared. Magic.
Magic. It is magic. Okay, so now next what we're going to do is take the trees. And again, I'm going to put that on. And I'm going to put, you see how I've got like about a little over, like probably just like that.
Okay.
Not a half inch, not a quarter inch, a little more than a quarter, but a little less than a half an inch. But you can put as much or as little as you want. And this is the one that's important to make sure you don't get excess glue, because otherwise it'll get all the way over there. And you can see when I did it, see how on this side I accidentally pushed a little bit too much on there.
Okay.
That's when I take, where'd my scissors go? Oh, my scissors. And I will cut that little piece off so you can't see it from the inside. And I've got big scissors, medium scissors, itsy bitsy scissors, all different kinds of stuff. My favorite are Fiskars because I think they are the quality in the scissors industry, and it's a way to support locally too because they make them here, which I like. So now you've got that. So then you decide on the back, if you're okay with this, you peel these little guys off. If you didn't like it, then you just peel the stickies off and you can stamp whatever you want on the white circle. And so they're little Stampin' Dimensional. So it gives a little bit of height without giving too much. And then you decide, I just like mine here. So you could glue it on if you wanted to do it and make it flat, but I kind of, because of these little dimensionals, I did that. So then the other thing that I use is I've got a little here. It's, let's see here. Let's use my other one. I've got a few. It's got like a little sticky stuff here, and it's got the little flat thing here. So you can do one of two things. I also have little spatulas. You can also use, there's all sorts. You can also use your scissors. But what I do is I take, whoops, these guys, will like peel this one off of my finger. Now that I peeled that one off of my finger, I'm just going to move it up there. And that just helps me to put wherever I want it. And you can put it anywhere you want. This little sticky stuff helps you if it's on here to take it off so you're not touching it, and you can put it wherever you want. Again, the eye works best when it's in threes. So that's why you got 3 of these little things to decide where you want to put them.
Okay.
Okay, so my tip, and so that's just about the end of that card. Now we're going to put the little strip of gold here. You can see, otherwise you can, if you like it that way, you can keep it with the black, but I just like tying the two together.
Oh.
It's all about how do you make things kind of blend it together. So I just put that there. Now let's see if I can get it. Oh, Jamie, you didn't put it flat though. Flat on. There we go. Now it's even. So my tip of the week, which I put on the little training thing you had, is down here, is about mailing instructions. If you are like me, that I love to mail to people, but I also like putting these kind of little things on it. The post office hates lumps. The post office will charge you a bazillion dollars, not really, but they'll charge you more if you do that. So what I do is I always cut just a little tiny piece of cardboard, or if you get cardstock, the back of the cardstock is just a little piece, and put it over here when I'm mailing it, and I put it in my envelope because it makes it flat. Because these are a little bit thicker, I'd probably use the cardboard because it's not, when you tell, it's not as pliable as this is. If I was using ribbon, I'd probably use this, but for these ones, because they're a little bit bigger, I'd use just a little piece of cardboard, and you only pay the standard forever rate, which now I think actually went up to like 58 cents. But that is my little tip and trick for making sure that you don't pay any extra card stuff.
Sure.
The other thing that sometimes I like to do on my cards is, you'll see I like stamping on the outside, just to give it to kind of tie what you did for this.
Very nice.
Your envelope. So it just gives that little bit extra something, I think, when you're doing that. Do you have any questions?
No, it's been fun.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. Let's get me back there. There we go. I had fun doing this. I love making cards. I love sending, as I would say, a hug in the mail for everyone. I hope you learned something while you were here.
Oh, I
And
did.
and again, it makes it a lot easier when you're not as much, it's not as easy for you because then you don't get the person right there. But I think we can make it fun anyway for when we're
Oh,
doing
yes,
this.
definitely, definitely. Well, thank you for your time and,
Thing.
my creation that I made because of you.
Well, I'm glad that you like it, and hopefully you'll be able to send it to someone and make their happy day.
Oh, yes, I've already
And thanks
planned
again.
on after I put them together, so.
There we go. There we go. Well, and thanks, Anne, for having me here, and we will talk with you later.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was super fun and beautiful cards. So
Yes,
thank
definitely.
you. And
Thank
I'll see
you.
you guys later then. Take care.
Okay.
Bye. Yep.
All right. Good night.
Bye.